thank you so much for coming today. This is quite a turnout, and in this rainy day, as we think about Matt, I think he'd be so impressed and pleased to see all these warm hearts out here. We're here today really to honor Matt as a student and as an athlete, and what he accomplished here at Newman and who he was as a person, and here to kind of unveil this monument here, and also to say thanks today for the establishment of the Matthew Savoie Scholarship, and thanks to the Savoie family for this. But this allows a student who may have a specialty in science or in soccer come to Newman who may not have been able to come before, and I think that's a really nice way to honor Matt. Everyone here was close to Matt in some way or another, and I know I really enjoyed my time getting to know him, and he's affected all of us so deeply. Today, just a few people are going to speak and say a few words. I'm going to introduce Coach Fitz and Coach Jacquet, and then briefly after that, we have some family members and a few other people that want to say a few words, and then we'll celebrate the way Matt would want with a soccer game. So that'll be good. So thank you all for coming. This means a lot to everyone here, and I know Matt would really be proud. So with that, I'll bring you Coach Fitz.
If you'll pardon me, I'm going to read this for what I suspect are obvious reasons. I knew Matt mostly from watching him play soccer at Newman. Occasionally I had the pleasure of talking with him in the halls, at school, or having brief exchanges around around other Newman events. But I knew I liked, respected, and admired him from the first moment I saw him on the soccer field. I loved his passion and his strength of will, his determination. I loved his gift of fury. He seemed to gobble up soccer and life. Soccer was not just a game. For Matt, it was a test. And soccer can test you physically, mentally, and some would argue morally. Matt loved this test. He always seemed on a quest, a never-ending ascension quest. I loved being a part of this, if only from a distance. Randy Zell will tell you how Matt brought this same energy and determination to the classroom, where he became totally engaged and passionate about Randy's genetic course. And I'm confident Randy would agree that one of the great assets of athletics is to have these same traits that allow you to be successful in the competitive cauldron carry over into other parts of your life. When I hear or read the quote, "Wars are won in the will," I will always think of Matt. He epitomizes for me the strength of will to tackle any and all challenges, and frankly, no one did it better than Matt. I certainly miss him and will continue to miss him, but I am happy and excited to be part of this dedication. May he be with us today and always. Thank you. Matt Jacquet.
My speech basically tonight is going to be more directed to those guys standing up there, just so that they understand the importance of Matt, what he meant to this program, and what the importance of this piece is. A few weeks ago we met as a group, and just as soon as this piece went up, we kind of reminisced about Matt. You know, the big thing about Matt is his skill level of playing the game. I mean, he was terrific as far as his skill work and his technique, and he was one of those players, every time he touched the ball, that your eyes were glued to just see what was going to happen next. I mean, every time he touched, I mean, even to this day, I still talk to a lot of the older players that were with us, that we still try and figure out how he did this or did that, and you know, he was just that type of player. He was terrific, and you were just waiting for that next brilliant thing. But with what I really want the players to understand about him and what he brought to this program is, you know, when it came to practice, when it came to playing games, he worked. He worked so hard to become better, to strive to be better. He, at practice, he played just like he did as if he was in a game. And as a coach, that's what you want. You want players, when they come to practice, that they put everything that they can to become better for the next game. He never took practice off. If he had a bad game the day before, he'd make sure he'd strive to become better. So when that opportunity came, he was ready for it. Or when the next game came, he was ready for the next match as best as he could. And that's what I need from you players to understand. You can't take this time off. You've got to understand the work that you have to put in, like Matt did. He worked as hard as he could to get what he wanted, and he wanted a championship. He wanted to be as best as a player here at Newman as he could. And the other thing that with Matt, that at times I always thought, what's going through this guy's head? He would constantly be at practice, and like I say, with his work rate, he'd be at that game speed, as we call it in soccer. You're just constantly at game speed. That's how you want to train. Well, he was constantly, I truly believe this, and I know this, that he was constantly visualizing the game. He was constantly visualizing that next big moment, or that moment, that big moment to come. So at practice, he would, whether we were shooting or whether we were just playing games, if he'd score a goal, you would think that he had just won the championship at practice. And he'd run around the field and celebrate and let everybody know that he scored. And he'd turn to me and say, "Hey, coach, you see that?" And I said, "Yeah, I saw that." But as the season, as the more I got to know him and got to understand him, I knew what he was doing. He was getting himself mentally prepared for, in case, if you see on this piece here, you see that piece, he was preparing himself for that moment. And you can't, if you were there at that game, 4 overtimes, the ball bounces out to him, and to me, it's so fitting that it bounces out to him, and he's the one that finishes the game to win the state championship for us. And then that piece, that picture, it explains a lot to me about him and what he was constantly going on through his head. He was ready for that moment. And I hope you as players understand that. You understand that you have to be ready for the challenge. And you have to put in the time like he did. And the last thing that I'm going to say is we as a program, and from now on, you guys, as you walk through before every game and you walk out here and you walk here, we're going to be required. This is as we say, a spirit stone. You're going to look at this and remember as you walk by and you touch it, that what it takes to get what you want, like Matt did. He did everything that he could to get what he needed and what he wanted in the game of soccer and the game of life. And not only that, to mentally prepare yourself so when we step onto the pitch, we're ready to go. So as a Newman soccer program, we will always love and remember what Matt brought to us and what Matt did to us, and we will continue to have Matt's presence and to be with us, and he will continue to help bring what we need to here in the program. So again, thank you, and again, guys, understand the importance of this. Thank you.
And thank you to you, Coach, and some of Matt's closest friends for the concept behind this and making this happen. I want to invite Matt's mom, Lori, up to say a few words.
I'm going to have to read too for obvious reasons. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming today. We're so grateful to all of you for caring about Matthew. Thank you to Coach Fitz, Coach Jacquet, TJ, Sabrina, and Jeannie. Thank you to all of you who have made donations to the Matt Savoy Scholarship Fund, which is now helping a terrific young man attend Newman. I could stand here for weeks and talk to you about Matt. Those of you who knew him well could talk for another few weeks. I do want to tell you a few things since this will probably be one of my last times to do so. If I ramble, and I will, please bear with me. Truly, Matt was a success. Academically, he achieved what he set out to. He was a National Merit Scholar, receiving a partial scholarship from National Merit to attend his first choice college, Wake Forest. Athletically, he was on a team that won the soccer state championship, a goal he'd had since he watched the Newman soccer team play when he was 10 years old. He was 3-time All-State, All-Metro, All-District, though having been told by a coach previously he was too small. He kicked in the winning goal in the state championship game, was named MVP of that game, and then MVP of the state, and nominated for the Gatorade Player of the Year. He got to play overseas. He was recruited and got to play in college, all of which was exciting, he said, but really, he told me, all he had really wanted was that state championship with his team. I guess because of his success academically and athletically, he was voted most successful by his class. Matt wanted to go to a college that had a similar feeling and level of care from professors as he had had at Newman. He genuinely enjoyed and admired his teachers and coaches at both schools. He knew his getting into Wake Forest was because of Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Schneido, Mrs. Albrecht, Dr. Sheets, Mrs. Smith McEaster, and certainly Mr. Zell, and others I'm sure I'm forgetting about at this moment. When he was struggling personally his junior year, they talked to him, pushed him, lifted him up, and he was so affected by that, truly, that he pushed through and became a stronger, confident, better person. He was so nervous that first semester at Wake Forest, when they put him in a Latin class for juniors and seniors, all the guys looked like men, he told me. But when the professor plopped down Catullus on his desk the first day, he said, "Yes, I've got this. I can't wait to tell Magistra." And he wrote about this in his admission essay. He knew that he had and would continue to learn from everyone he came into contact with. He wanted to learn from the janitors, the maintenance guys, the lunch ladies, and everyone whose path he crossed. He really believed this and proved it when at the memorial service Wake Forest held for him, we were met by one of the lunch ladies who said she wanted to meet us and tell us he spoke to her every day, and she always tried to get him to eat his vegetables, even though he usually went for pizza. As his biology professor at Wake Forest, a prominent and often interviewed and quoted scientist said as he sobbed after the service, he wanted to see what Matt could have become. He was just so smart. So yes, Matthew was very successful, but it was his success out of school and off the field that is really most important to us and comforting. It's an understatement to say Matt was a passionate person. He loved his school, his friends, his family, his girlfriend, his soccer, and his city. He lived his life so fully and all out, just the way he played. From the 18th birthday party he threw for Lily Miller to the pre-prom crawfish boil, we loved it all as much as he did. He once said of the Newman class of 2009 that not everyone was his close friend. People had different interests, but everyone respected each other and were all friends and were there for each other. He knew he was loved. He showed his love, and he got it. He had learned what life was really all about. He had a strong faith, and he had a fantastic life, and he knew it. He accomplished so much. He fell in love, and he was so happy. And I'm sure he still is. He is a force of nature. How do you think the Saints really won the Super Bowl? Bobby and I, Mallory and William, are so thankful to our families, the Newman family, Louisiana soccer family, his teachers, friends, teammates, coaches, particularly coaches Fitz and Jacques. And from Matt to Joe, Tyler, Stan, Will Langenstein, David, Dinab, Will Houston, Robert Reed, Charles, Ian, Austin, Jeff, Matt, Teddy, Drew, Taylor, Amy, Miles Court, Eli, Gee, Michael, Trevor, Sarah, Mason, Will, and so many others. All of their friends, his family, all of their families, his soccer teammates, the class of 2009, and Lily. We thank you for all the support, the creation of websites, the emails of stories and unknown things he did for you, the fundraising through Nola Couture with ties, hats, keychains, etc. Remember him and use him as an inspiration. make his life have the impact. And to all the present and future athletes at Newman, hopefully before you get on the bus for cross country, take the stage for a play or a debate, touch the court, dive into the pool, or take the field, you'll touch this stone and take on the never give up attitude that was Matt's way of living and his motto, which at Wake Forest had become the sky's the limit. Respect and learn from everyone and love life and make the most of every day. And support Newman soccer.
I'd like to invite Coach Zell to come to the mic.
When I first got into teaching, my very first year, I was at another school and I had a mentor there, and that mentor told me very clearly that you cannot be an effective teacher and be a friend to your students at the same time. As a rookie, I said, okay, well, he must know what he's talking about. It didn't take me long to figure out that that's not true at all. And if I ever needed proof as to why that's the case, all I have to do is look at my relationship with Matthew. Matthew was one of my students. Matthew was an advisee of mine, but Matthew was also a great, wonderful friend to me. And everyone out there who was friends with Matthew can tell you how tenaciously loyal he was to his friends. If Matt was your friend, he was your friend for life. My only regret at this point, of course, is that the opportunity to continue to develop and grow that friendship was cut short for us. But on the other hand, I will forever be thankful for the time we had to share together. It's kind of ironic, I'm a big fan of cliche and motivational quotes and things like that, and so I have them plastered all over my apartment. And Matt used to love to make fun of me for that whenever I've had him over for, for advisory dinner or whatever. But one of those in particular he made fun of, and I say that quote now because I couldn't see it as being more appropriate for his case. And it goes a little something like this: of all the hopes, dreams, aspiration, goals, and desires we may ever have throughout the course of our lifetime, it really comes down to just one objective, and that's to make a difference and to hopefully leave this planet in a little better shape than when we came into it. Nicely done, Matty Sav. Mission accomplished. Thank you.
I want to be respectful of the soccer team here, and I feel a little bad for their opponent today because I think you're all going to be channeling Matt today, and I know you'll make him proud with your work this evening. And I want to thank you all for coming this evening. I hope you will stick around to talk with each other and to take a look at this beautiful stone here, and remember Matt the way we all miss him so much. So thank you all again for coming. It really means a lot to everyone here. Thanks so much.
Thank you for the kind words. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you for putting this on. Being kind. It means a lot to me.
I was like, what is he talking about? So jealous. they say you later?
How you doing?
Yeah, there you go.
People just coming over and staying in touch with the idea for the flag came mostly from Will Houston, one of Matthew's classmates. We asked Will was one of Matthew's best friends and soccer buddies from the time that they were maybe 9 or 10 years old. He was also a very, very talented artist. So we asked Will if he would help us come up with a design that would capture Matthew, not just his soccer skills, but the person that he was. So he drew a picture of Matthew that really showed him as a student and a person, and then drew a picture of him doing the slide at the end of the quadruple overtime soccer game. Well, what we did then is we took one of our favorite poems that talks about contributing to life, regardless of how long you live, is what you contribute to life, not the amount of years that you live, which obviously captures Matthew's life. He did so much in such a short period of time. And then a lot of his accolades he received in soccer, and laid those out with the drawings. And as it turns out, the company that did the plaque, Alfortis, told us that if we get a digital picture, they could actually use the pictures as opposed to the drawings. So with Will Houston's help and inspiration, and then the things that we wanted to say about Matthew and the type of person he was, we were able to lay that out with the pictures and went through a number of iterations so that it pulled out Matthew and his graduation picture and the words out of the poem that meant a lot to him and a lot to us. And then we were also able to capture what we call the slide picture, which was not only in the picture of when they had the article about them winning the state championship, it was also the picture they used after Matthew's accident. And it had Will Houston and Jeffrey Hampton, two of his closest friends and soccer buddies, in it, and it captured the whole concept of the thrill of victory, of winning in quadruple overtime, kicking the winning goal in quadruple overtime in the state championship soccer game. So we were able to capture both of those on the plaque, and we felt like that would capture Matthew's personality, his spirit of life, his love for people, and how much he gave to everything that he did. And that's really how the plaque came about. He loves science and soccer, and to go to one of those, the teachers in the school will be able to choose who to give the scholarship to. That's up to them. And we met the young man that got the scholarship this year. He's a soccer player, and he's a brilliant science student, so it was perfect. Hopefully we'll be able to help other children.
Tyler said he gave you all the pictures.
So you liked it?
I did. I missed yourself watching the film.
Pictures of all the kids down by the river. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't know that was
I
happening.
can't believe they were able to get them all there and organized. Isn't that awesome?
It's adorable. I love the plaque. The plaque is just fabulous.
Came out good.
Proud of you. Oh my God, that was, it was gorgeous.
Have you painting in our bedroom?
Oh,
Got it?
please, do
Our little apple.
We do Gotta have Jeffrey immortalized, man.
We kind of cheated Will Houston a little bit because his face is covered.
Yeah.
You can see your face, Jeffrey.